We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
Feet, 3.5 down, 9 forward. Okay, 75 feet. Car's looking good, down a half. 6 forward. 60 seconds. Lights on. Forward. Forward. 40 feet, down 2.5. Picking up some dust. Straight shadow. 4 forward, drifting to the right a little. 30 seconds. Forward. Contact light. Okay, engine stop. We copy you down, Eagle. Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed. I'm going to step off the limb. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Shalom Alaikum Mashbakat. Shalom Alaikum Kabarim. Wa Kwam Yashala. Kwam. Ko Halaluwa Ya Yahweh Bahashema Mashiach Yahweh Shai Barakatah. Welcome to another episode of Production Edification. I am your host Akbarullah Bar Yasharullah. In this episode entitled Oppositions of Science, the Lunar Landing Hoax, I take a slicing swing with a two-edged sword at those of our people who continue to support and defend the lies of the adversary, which are in direct opposition to the word of our Yahweh Allah. By upholding these many false ideologies, doctrines of devils, they make of themselves anti-Mashiachim. My appeal is for all to come out from among them and be separate from them, that teach and uphold steadfastly these deeply entrenched false doctrines, philosophies, and ideologies. These lies cannot live without your personal support, and they all must die with all of those who perpetuate and support them. The lies and the liars are a cancer that must be cut out of the body, lest the body remain sick and infected with the plague of paganism. We have not attended schools dedicated to higher learning, but instead we have been shoveled through indoctrination centers, focused on our forced conversion to pagan Rome system of sun worship and its heliocentric points of worldview, the dreams of Neanderthal. This monkey man society have been teaching us to observe and conform to their pagan beliefs, customs, cultures, dress, and appearance since pre-K. Critical thinking skills were beaten out of us and replaced with blind obedience to so-called moral, principled authorities who lack both. We have been trained to accept pseudoscience as academic science and thereby indoctrinated into a religion falsely called science. But it is in fact a pseudoscience, a science fiction, a religion, versus an academic science with measurable facts. We have been so deeply mind controlled that we find it hard to break the spell even after we have been presented with staggering proofs, facts, and evidence against the lies. My goal is to continue to present the truth and push the facts in the face of those of you who would have wisdom to hear it, see it, and repeat it. What do our records say about it? Pay attention to the details. Obadiah 1 and 4 is that single verse of scripture that a couple of camps use to support and defend that ridiculous lunar landing hoax. They will read this verse and say, see, the Bible don't lie, they did land on the moon. They will ask, what did the astronauts say when they landed on the moon? As if they really did so. And repeating the words, Houston, Tranquility Base here, the Eagle has landed. And say, see, that fixed that verse of scripture right there that says they will set their nests among the stars. Nest being a base camp at the Sea of Tranquility. Well, I continually refute this false teaching strongly with a single word breakdown. Our records indicated that he, that man of sin, the son of perdition, who is a reputed liar, would set, S-E-T, his nest among the stars. And when we look attentively at the main ways that he did set his nest, it is through his wizardry and grand illusions with film sets, stage sets, and television sets, with modern day crystal ball flat screens that we realize the devil has tricked us all. Then we will have to rediscover the truth of our records, again stating that there's a firmament separating the waters above from the waters below, and nobody can go beyond that barrier. The one who must be revealed before the day of Yahweh is the same one opposing and exalting himself above all that is called Most High. Not one man or one single nation, but the remnant of the Roman Idumean Empire, with its mixed multitudes, with exception of one hued man made from the clay of the earth or ground. The one thing that binds these nations together is their doctrine of white supremacy through Roman Catholicism, which gave birth to many daughter Protestant churches. They painted their images and showed themselves to be the Most High and the angels and the children of the Most High in their Hollywood movies and theater stage screen sets. Microscopic scrutiny. What do their own science reveal about their own religious beliefs in space? Pay attention to the details. They taught me that space is a vacuum with no water, air, or ether. They also taught me that sound waves bounce off the ionosphere. Long wave, short wave, very high frequency, ultra high frequency, doesn't matter. I started to think, if the sound waves bounce back and radio waves need a wave carrier to propagate the waveforms, then they could not have talked to a spacecraft that went beyond the ionosphere or satellites. Then I remembered a president they called Tricky Dick Nixon called the moon from the Oval Office on a landline. That has to have been the longest continuous telephone line ever laid. Yah forsaken liars. We have been played. What do their scientists, technical data, and reports say? They have told enough lies that the lies have started telling the truth.
We are headed 3,600 miles above Earth, 15 times higher from the planet than the International Space Station. As we get further away from Earth, we'll pass through the Van Allen belts, an area of dangerous radiation. Radiation like this could harm the guidance systems, onboard computers, or other electronics on Orion. Naturally, we have to pass through this danger zone twice, once up and once back. But Orion has protection. Shielding will be put to the test as the vehicle cuts through the waves of radiation. But Orion has protection. Shielding will be put to the test as the vehicle cuts through the waves of radiation.
But Orion has protection. Shielding will be put to the test as the vehicle cuts through the waves of radiation.
Sensors aboard will record radiation levels for scientists to study. We must solve these challenges before we send people through this region of space. We must solve these challenges before we send people through this region of space.
We must solve these challenges before we send people through this region of space. For this flight, it's time to head home.
In Job 38:5, the Most High asks Job a very important question that I'm asking of these people today. Who has laid out the measurements of 238,900 miles distance between the Earth and the Moon? Who stretched out a tape measure on it and discovered that number? Oh, I know you can find the angle and the distance and solve for the height, but you're not going to get 238,900 miles with accomplishing that task.
Our mission as the Civilian Space Exploration Team is to be the first civilian team in history to launch a rocket that reaches space.
All systems are go for launch. 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4.
atmosphere reaches twice the distance to the moon. Looks like our little blue planet ain't that little. New observations from a study by the European Space Agency and NASA show that Earth's geocorona, an atmospheric layer made of hydrogen atoms, reaches up to 630,000 kilometers or 391,000 miles away. According to the paper published in AGU's Journal of Geophysical Research, the team made these observations using an instrument mounted on a satellite called the Solar and Heliospheric Observatory, or SOHO. The SOHO orbits some 1.5 million kilometers from Earth towards the Sun and mainly studies Earth's interactions with the Sun. It is equipped with a remote tool called Solar Wind Anisotrophes, or SWAN. The SWAN is capable of detecting hydrogen signatures in the outer layer of Earth's atmosphere by using an absorption cell. These new findings could help researchers look for watery planets with similar atmospheres outside our solar system. When you think of it, this means astronauts and spacecraft that have traveled to the moon technically never left the Earth's atmosphere. Pretty neat, right?